Welcome to our channel History of Coins, where we explore the hidden gems of numismatics. In today's video, we're diving into the fascinating world of U.S. state quarter-dollar coins, as some of these coins are rare and can make you rich overnight. In this video, we are gonna uncover the rarest coins and their values. So make sure to watch the complete video and find out if you have one of these. Now let's continue our today's video. Top 1 today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating coins ever to come out of the United States Mint, the Virginia State Quarter from the year 2000. Now, this is no ordinary quarter. It's a piece of history, a story carved in metal, and for collectors, it could be the key to unlocking a truly incredible fortune. When the United States launched the famous 50 state quarters program in 1999, it was nothing short of revolutionary in the world of modern coins. For the first time, each state would be celebrated with its own special design, released over a 10-year period. Millions of Americans began looking at their pocket change more closely than ever before. Kids and grandparents, collectors, and everyday people, everyone wanted to collect all 50. It sparked a coin craze that made history. Just 1 year into the program, in 2000, the state of Virginia was honored with a quarter of its own. The design was chosen to commemorate the founding of Jamestown, the first permanent English settlement in the New World. On the reverse side of the coin, you'll see a breathtaking depiction of the 3 ships that carried settlers across the Atlantic Ocean: the Susan Constant, the Godspeed, and the Discovery. These vessels represent not just Virginia's history, but the beginning of what would one day become the United States of America. It is powerful symbolism, ships braving unknown seas, forging a path toward a new life, carrying dreams of freedom and opportunity. On the obverse, of course, remains the familiar profile of George Washington, the first president, designed by John Flanagan decades earlier. But what makes this coin truly exciting for collectors isn't just the design. It's the stories of rarity, condition, and error that have turned a humble quarter into one of the most sought-after treasures in American numismatics. Most Virginia state quarters were struck in massive numbers, hundreds of millions in fact. They circulated everywhere, from vending machines to parking meters, and for the most part they were treated just like any other coin. But a tiny fraction of these coins were struck with unusual minting errors. These mistakes, instead of making the coins worthless, gave them an aura of mystery and desirability. Collectors are drawn to them like moths to a flame. Some quarters show dramatic doubling, where the image of the ships or the lettering appears doubled under magnification. Others were struck slightly off-center, with the design shifted to one side, leaving a blank crescent on the edge. A few even show die cracks, raised lines of metal caused by flaws in the dies that struck the coins. Each error tells a story of the minting process, machines pushing to their limits, dies wearing down, and a moment where something went unexpectedly wrong, leaving behind a one-of-a-kind coin. Now imagine this. Out of the millions of Virginia state quarters that passed through hands, pockets, and cash registers, only a select few escaped with such distinctive errors and managed to survive in pristine, uncirculated condition. These are the coins that send collectors into a frenzy. Their rarity makes them jewels among ordinary change, treasures hidden in plain sight. For coin collectors, finding such a quarter is not just about money. It's about discovery, history, and the thrill of knowing you've uncovered something special. Imagine stumbling across a coin in your old collection, or even in circulation that turns out to be a numismatic masterpiece. The Virginia State Quarter captures not just the spirit of American history, but the spirit of collecting itself. The idea that a small piece of metal can hold a story, a mystery, and yes, a fortune. And speaking of fortune, here comes the part you've been waiting for. While an ordinary Virginia quarter from the year 2000 might only be worth 25 cents, one rare example with the right combination of pristine condition and extraordinary mint error shocked the collecting world when it reached an astonishing value of $81,000. So the next time you're looking through your change, take a close look at those quarters. You never know when one might just change your life. Top 2, we're diving into the world of one of America's most fascinating coins. A piece that at first glance seems ordinary, but hides secrets that could make it worth far more than its humble face value. I'm talking about the Indiana State Quarter, released in 2002 as part of the historic 50 state quarters program. Now, if you've ever held one in your hand, You might think it's just another coin rattling around in your pocket. But stay with me, because by the end of this story you'll realize just how extraordinary this quarter can be. Let's start with a little history. The 50 State Quarters program was one of the most ambitious projects in the history of the United States Mint. Between 1999 and 2008, each state was celebrated with its own unique design, struck into the coin that so many of us use every day. These weren't just coins. They were miniature works of art, each one capturing the culture, history, and pride of a different state. The program ignited a collecting frenzy unlike anything seen before. Families across America began saving coins from change, hunting for each new design as it was released. And among these designs, Indiana's quarter stands tall, both literally and figuratively. The Indiana State Quarter was the 19th coin in the series, commemorating Indiana's admission to the Union back in 1816. The design chosen to represent the state was simple but powerful: a race car, the iconic Indy car, speeding across the coin, encircled by 19 stars to mark Indiana as the 19th state. It's a perfect tribute to the Hoosier State, known around the world for the Indianapolis 500, the legendary race that has been thrilling fans for over a century. The design celebrates both history and speed, tying Indiana's cultural identity to one of the most famous sporting events on the planet. But here's where the story becomes much more intriguing. While millions of Indiana quarters were minted for circulation, a very small number left the mint with rare errors or in extraordinarily pristine condition. These are the coins that make collectors' hearts race as fast as the Indy car depicted on the reverse. Imagine millions of coins struck by machines working at incredible speeds, and in that process, a handful slipping through with slight but valuable imperfections. Some of these rare examples show doubling on the lettering or even on the race car itself, creating a ghostly shadow effect that sharp-eyed collectors immediately recognize as a treasure. Others were struck off-center, with part of the design shifted toward the edge, leaving a crescent-shaped blank area that makes each one a one-of-a-kind piece. There are even examples with die cracks, raised lines of metal that trace across the surface of the coin like a lightning bolt, a flaw caused by a fracture in the die used to strike it. These aren't mistakes to be ignored. They are errors that transform a common coin into a highly prized collectible. Now add another layer: condition. Most coins circulate through countless hands, pockets, machines, and drawers, picking up scratches and wear along the way. But a select few are preserved from the moment they leave the mint. These uncirculated examples shine with their original luster, untouched by time or use. Combine that flawless condition with a dramatic mint error, and you have the formula for a coin that transcends its everyday purpose and enters the realm of serious value. Collectors know this, and they are always hunting. That's what makes the Indiana quarter so exciting. It's not just about owning a piece of metal. It's about the thrill of discovery. It's about history in your palm, a symbol of American pride and one state story, transformed into a potential treasure chest. Every time a collector examines one of these coins, there's a spark of hope, a rush of adrenaline, the dream that maybe, just maybe, they're holding a coin worth far more than anyone would expect. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. Among the rarest and most valuable examples of the Indiana State Quarter, one extraordinary piece, with a spectacular error and perfect preservation, stunned the numismatic world when it reached a staggering value of $78,000. Next time you come across a 2002 Indiana quarter, don't dismiss it as just another piece of change. Look closely. Check the details, the edges, the design. Because hidden in plain sight, you might just have a coin that carries not only the story of a state, but the possibility of life-changing value. Top 3, we're setting our sights on one of the most breathtaking coins in the America, the beautiful quarter series, a piece that captures both natural wonder and numismatic excitement. I'm talking about the Arches National Park Quarter, released in 2014 to honor the stunning red rock landscapes of Utah. On the surface, it may look like just another quarter, something you might receive in your change at the grocery store. But in reality, this coin hides secrets that could make it one of the most extraordinary finds in your entire collection. The America the Beautiful program began in 2010, following the enormous success of the earlier State Quarters program. The goal was to celebrate the natural beauty of America, its parks, its monuments, and its wild places, etched forever into circulating coinage. Over the course of 11 years, 56 designs were issued, one for each state and territory, each one showcasing a unique part of the country's heritage. For Utah, the chosen site was Arches National Park, a geological wonderland famous for its natural stone arches carved by time, wind, and water. Now, let's take a moment to appreciate the design. On the reverse of the 2014 quarter, you'll find the breathtaking image of Delicate Arch, the most famous landmark in the park and one of the most recognized natural arches in the world. Rising against the backdrop of distant mountains, it is a scene that captures both majesty and fragility, a symbol of nature's artistry. On the obverse, as with all quarters in the modern era, you'll find George Washington's familiar portrait, a steady reminder of America's founding. This design makes the Arches quarter not only a circulating coin, but also a miniature monument to one of America's greatest natural treasures. But what makes this coin so intriguing for collectors is not just the design. It's the rarity, the errors, and the conditions in which certain pieces survive. You see, millions of Arches quarters were minted, but most went straight into circulation, clinking through cash registers, vending machines, and change jars. Only a fraction were preserved in pristine condition, and an even smaller number emerged with unique minting mistakes. Those rare survivors are what collectors dream about. Let's talk about errors, because that's where the magic begins. Minting is a precise process, but no system is perfect. Some Arches quarters show doubling on the lettering or even on the outlines of the delicate arch itself. Under magnification, these doubled images look like shadows, a clear sign of a double die error that collectors pay dearly for. Other coins were struck slightly off-center, leaving part of the design cut off and a crescent of blank metal exposed. These off-center errors make each coin completely unique, like snowflakes in the world of minting. Still others display die cracks, raised lines running across the coin where the die fractured under pressure. Each crack is a fingerprint of imperfection, making that coin a one-of-a-kind collectible. Condition, of course, is everything. A heavily circulated Arches quarter with scratches and wear is worth only face value. But when you find one in mint state, with its original shine and not a single blemish, you've uncovered a treasure. Add to that an error, and the value can skyrocket. Collectors are willing to pay extraordinary amounts for coins that are both rare in design and flawless in condition. And that's exactly what makes the Arches quarter so exciting. For a true coin lover, it's about more than money. It's about the thrill of discovery. Imagine sifting through your change and realizing that the quarter in your hand isn't just 25 cents. It's a piece of art, a piece of history, and potentially a life-changing find. The Arches National Park quarter reminds us that America's beauty can be found not only in its landscapes, but also in the small treasures hidden in everyday life. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. Among the rarest examples of the 2014 Arches quarter, one spectacular coin with a dramatic error and in perfect uncirculated condition stunned the collecting world when it reached a value of $76,000. We're taking a closer look at one of the most talked about and mysterious coins in the entire State Quarters series. It's a coin that appears ordinary to the untrained eye, but to collectors it holds secrets, surprises, and in rare cases, staggering value. I'm talking about the Wisconsin State Quarter, released in 2004, a coin that has captivated the numismatic world for 2 decades. The State Quarters program, launched in 1999, was one of the most popular initiatives ever created by the United States Mint. Each state was honored with a special design, giving collectors and the public a chance to celebrate American history and culture through the coins in their pockets. By the time Wisconsin's turn arrived in 2004, excitement was already running high. Millions of people across the country were eagerly waiting to see how each new state would be represented. Wisconsin's design paid tribute to its strong agricultural heritage. On the reverse side of the coin, you'll find a proud dairy cow, a wedge of cheese, and an ear of corn, symbols of a state known for farming and food production. The design is straightforward but meaningful, celebrating what Wisconsin is most famous for. On the obverse, as always, George Washington appears, a reminder of unity across all 50 designs. Now here's where the story takes a dramatic turn. While most Wisconsin quarters rolled out of the mint without incident, a handful were struck with unusual variations. These minting errors have become legendary among collectors. They are not accidents caused by damage after leaving the mint. These are die varieties, which means they occurred during the minting process itself. And that makes them incredibly desirable. The most famous of these is known as the extra leaf variety. Some Wisconsin quarters show a corn stalk on the reverse with an extra leaf that doesn't appear on the standard design. In fact, there are two different extra leaf varieties, one where the leaf curves up and one where the leaf curves down. These varieties were discovered shortly after the coin's release and immediately caused a sensation. Collectors began scouring their change, hoping to find one of these mysterious extra leaf quarters. Theories spread quickly. Was this an intentional engraving by a mischievous mint employee? Was it simply an accident caused by a damaged die? To this day, the exact origin of the extra leaf remains a subject of debate, but one thing is certain. These coins are rare, and they are worth far more than face value. Condition plays a huge role as well. An extra leaf quarter that has been heavily circulated might bring in a modest premium, but one that remains in brilliant uncirculated condition, with full luster and no signs of wear, can command truly staggering prices. That's why collectors take the time to carefully examine every Wisconsin quarter that passes through their hands. It's easy to overlook a small detail like an extra leaf on a piece of corn, but for a collector, those tiny differences can mean the difference between a coin worth just 25 cents and a coin worth thousands. This is part of what makes numismatics so exciting. The idea that something so small, something so ordinary, can suddenly transform into a treasure when you know what to look for. The Wisconsin quarter teaches us that errors and varieties aren't always mistakes to be discarded. Sometimes, they're the very things that make a coin fascinating. They turn everyday change into a puzzle, a mystery, and sometimes, a jackpot. So imagine the thrill of the collector who not only discovered one of these extra leaf varieties, but found it in absolutely pristine, uncirculated condition. That combination of rarity and perfection created one of the most valuable state quarters ever sold. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. A rare Wisconsin state quarter from 2004, featuring the famous extra leaf variety and preserved in flawless condition, reached an astonishing value of $74,000. So the next time you're going through your change or looking through an old coin jar, pay close attention to those Wisconsin quarters. Look at the corn stalk carefully. Check for that extra leaf. Because hidden in plain sight, you just might be holding one of the most extraordinary treasures in modern American coinage. Top 5, we're heading deep into the American South to uncover the fascinating story of one of the most elegant and underrated coins in the entire state quarters series. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary piece of change, something you might slip into a vending machine without a second thought. But don't be fooled. This quarter has secrets, and in rare cases, it has commanded values that can change the way you look at pocket change forever. The coin we're talking about today is the Mississippi State Quarter, released in 2002 at the 50 State Quarters program. As you know, was one of the most successful projects in the history of the U.S. Mint. Between 1999 and 2008, each state was honored with a design reflecting its history, culture, or natural beauty. Millions of Americans collected them from circulation, putting together sets in albums, jars, or simply in dresser drawers. They were more than coins. They were lessons in history, geography, and pride in one's state. When it came time for Mississippi's turn in 2002, designers wanted to create something timeless, something that truly captured the essence of the Magnolia State. And so, the Mississippi Quarter was born, adorned with a delicate and graceful rendering of magnolia blossoms. The magnolia, the state flower, is a symbol of beauty, resilience, and Southern heritage. On the coin's reverse, two magnolia blossoms, one large and one small, are arranged with incredible detail, creating an image that is both simple and stunning. On the obverse side, George Washington's familiar portrait stands firm, tying the whole series together. Collectors often describe the Mississippi Quarter as one of the most beautiful designs of the program. But as always in numismatics, beauty is only part of the story. What makes this coin truly fascinating is not just its design, but the rare varieties and errors that emerged during its production. With millions of quarters being struck at lightning speed, it's no surprise that mistakes sometimes occurred at the mint. And for collectors, those mistakes can turn ordinary coins into extraordinary treasures. Some Mississippi quarters show signs of doubling, known as double die errors, where parts of the magnolia blossoms or the lettering appear shadowed or repeated. Others display off-center strikes, where the design is shifted away from the center, leaving a blank crescent of metal at the edge. There are even coins with die cracks, raised lines across the surface caused when the minting dies began to fail under pressure. These errors are more than flaws. They are unique fingerprints that make each coin stand out. Now, rarity alone doesn't guarantee value. Condition is just as critical. A Mississippi quarter pulled from circulation, with scratches, dings, and heavy wear, might only be worth face value, even if it has a minor error. But find one in pristine, uncirculated condition, with its luster intact and no signs of handling, and suddenly you've got something special. Add in a dramatic error, and the value can skyrocket. This is the magic combination that drives collectors wild: rarity, condition, and demand. For many collectors, the thrill comes in the hunt. They search through rolls of quarters, study pocket change with magnifying glasses, and even purchase sealed mint sets hoping to find that elusive variety. The Mississippi quarter has become a favorite target because of its elegance and its potential for surprises. Every magnolia blossom on every coin is carefully examined, every curve and petal studied, in the hope of finding that one coin that stands out from the rest. And here's the part of the story that truly captures the imagination. Among the Mississippi quarters released in 2002, there exists an example so rare, so perfectly preserved, and with such an extraordinary minting anomaly that it stunned the collecting community. This was not just another quarter. It was a once-in-a-lifetime discovery, the kind of coin that makes headlines in numismatic circles and sets hearts racing at auction. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. That exceptional Mississippi State quarter, preserved in flawless condition and carrying its remarkable error, achieved a breathtaking value of $72,000. So the next time you see a Mississippi quarter, don't dismiss it as just 25 cents. Look closely at those magnolia blossoms, check for doubling, study the strike, and examine its condition. Because hidden in plain sight, one of these little coins could be the key to unlocking a true collector's fortune. That if you enjoyed this journey into the story of the Mississippi quarter, make sure to like this video, subscribe for more incredible coin stories, and tap the notification bell so you never miss out. Until next time, keep searching, keep collecting, and may your next find be the treasure of a lifetime.